Whoa, we are live and we're back in Studio One. We need Uncle Jeffrey to the stage. Anyhow, Jeff Bluebin with Practically Tactical and Arm Dynamics. And in this episode, I'm going to be talking about a really cool product called the Mantis X. And before we get started with that, I just have a couple of quick announcements. And we'd like to thank our amazing Patreon supporters who help us do our shows and help turn gun owners into responsibly armed citizens. We can't thank you guys enough. If you like our shows and our content, please check out our website or visit patreon.com/practically tactical. We also want to thank our amazing sponsors, Filster Holsters, Defensive Mechanisms, Big Tech's Ordnance, Defensive Elements, and Cloud Defensive. It's a lot of defensive stuff. Maybe that's a clue, right? Please visit practicallytactical.com for more information on sponsors, for links and discount codes. And while you're checking out the show notes, please be sure to do all your Amazon shopping with our Amazon affiliate link by clicking on the Amazon banner at practicallytactical.com. So, a while back, I was contacted by Mantis, and you may have heard of them. Like, they're known for their cool little electronic devices that go on firearms and help you assist you in what I at the time thought was just dry practice or dry fire. And they wanted to know if I would like to test the product, do a review, stuff like that. And my policy is this: unless something is just utter trash, don't bother sending it to me. And sometimes you can tell that. But if somebody sends me a product and I like it, I will do a review. So you'll see, generally speaking, positive reviews that are associated with me or ones that I have done. If I do not like it, I don't do a review because I don't really like trashing a company, but I will give them some feedback about where I feel that they can improve. So just a little bit of background about that. They sent me the X10 as well as another product, but I'm not going to talk about that yet because I want to do a separate review of that. But let's talk about the Mantis X. So what is the Mantis X? First of all, it comes in this cute little, I don't know why I called it cute, but this little durable pouch that has some memory, or not memory foam, but some open cell foam to house the both the Mantis X and a shotgun mount. So what it does is it's just this. This is it. This is it. This is the device. It's super lightweight. You can see this little USB or micro USB port in the back, which is how it charges. And it affixes to any Picatinny rail. This guy right here, which is two-sided, is if you are you want to do work with your shotgun, you would affix it to the shotgun barrel. And God, everything's backwards. Fix it to the shotgun barrel. Then it has a Picatinny rail on the bottom, and you would attach the Mantis X for that and get the feedback, which we'll go into here momentarily from the device. You can also affix this. So this is really cool. If we were going to start at the end, in the beginning, I will tell you that I really like this product. This is kind of the next evolution of dry practice, or where I believe we are going or capable of going if we choose to do so with our practice. And I believe that the gains can be tremendous. And the reason that I'm kind of starting with the conclusion is with my ADHD and stuff, I typically read magazine articles backwards first. So if I don't get to the end of it, I at least got the conclusion, but that's just something that I'll work out with my shrink. But yeah, so you can affix this to any Picatinny rail on pretty much any firearm. So that includes pistol, rifle, shotgun, CO2 gun, archery. So that'd be, I guess, a bow or an arrow, crossbow, whatever. And it gives you really valuable feedback, which I will talk about in a moment. So one of the things that I was curious about in the beginning was, well, if I attach it to the Picatinny rail on any of my Glocks or Beretta or whatever, I won't be able to fit it in my holster, and that's kind of really limiting. But there is a solution, and there's actually a couple different solutions. So the company's thought this out pretty well. The first one is an actual base plate So a plastic base plate that replaces the base plate of your magazine. So you kind of dedicate a magazine to, or excuse me, a magazine body and spring or whatnot to training, and then you have that with this adapter, this floor plate that has the Picatinny rail on it. Now, I like the idea of this for a multitude of reasons. Well, one, yes, you can use it for live fire, but if you're only going to be using this in your home, this becomes like your training mag, and you never load it with live ammunition. And I think that that's a really, really nice distinction that you can have, so that you do not launch around through your wall and kill your neighbor or your cat. And I said your cat because, yes, I got a cat. I have to do at least some things that are gay once in a while, but it's really cool. He's around here. I'll probably show you guys in a second. So yeah, so there are the ones that are specifically designed for a given magazine. This one is for the Beretta 92, 92, 96. But if you don't have like a floor plate that they sell, that they manufacture, because there's hundreds of different pistols probably. They're not going to obviously invest in all of the various different floor plates for these different pistols. You can get a little piece of Picatinny rail. It's the universal one, and it's $10, and it comes with really sticky 3M brand adhesive, double-sided tape. So you just stick this on the bottom of the magazine, hold it in place for a minute, and then you can affix this to any magazine you want, or even a gun like a revolver or something like that. I don't know. You know, the sky's the limit as far as your imagination. But this then allows these base plate modifications allow you to then holster your gun, which is obviously super important if you are in this for defensive shooting or competition or anything, where the draw stroke is of the highest level of importance, you know. So yeah, there's that. So that's some of the things that that you can affix it to. Let's talk about what it actually does, and I'm also going to kind of, I would be remiss if I didn't cover how to dry practice in this video. I'm not going to spend an hour on it or anything, but I want you guys to be able to watch this and actually also get a good feel for how to safely dry practice in your home, again, without killing your cat or your neighbor. So let's see. In order to dry practice safely, these are some of the considerations that we want to have. First of all, always fully unload your gun and remove all of the live ammunition from the area. I'm going to have a pregnant pause there because it's friggin' important. Take the ammo. You know, if you had to unload a magazine in order to do this because you don't have extra mags or whatever, fine. Put it in a little plastic bag and put it in the other room, and do not get it out until you are fully done your dry practice. And I've actually verbally announced I am now ending dry practice. Okay, so what I would do is this, and for the purposes of this video, this review, I'm using my Dark Star Gear. Wow, that was really loud. Dark Star Gear custom appendix rig that he actually took the Daniel Gracie logo, which is who I have my I guess years and years of training under, my brown belt under, and so that's kind of cool. You know, you can get that on there, but as well as a Beretta 92X. So this is the holster I'm going to be using, and this is the gun I'm going to be using. So let's talk about how first we unload the gun. And the reason why I do this and not just say just unload the gun is because more recently, and you have to think that having shot for 32 years of my life, for me to learn something new about how to unload a gun is kind of remarkable. And I'm not saying that from an egotistical perspective, but as so much of a, well, wow, you know, there's more than one way to skin a cat. And also we need to keep an open mind so that when we do stumble upon good, better material, I want to take that, you know, that's why we're doing what we're doing. That's what makes us practitioners as opposed to mere shooters. So what I will do is I will index the firearm with my finger high and away from the trigger, as physically high and away from the trigger as humanly possible. Remove the source of the ammunition, being the magazine. And in this case, the magazine is unloaded, which you can see the follower in there. There's no live ammunition in the magazine. I will then rack the slide to the rear several times. 1, 2, 3. Lock it to the rear. Physically insert my finger into the magazine well. Physically insert my finger into the chamber area looking for an empty hole. I will then let this slide forward, break my attention, come back, physically and visually inspect the magazine well, lock the slide to the rear, and physically and visually inspect the chamber for an empty hole. Okay. Now, the reason that I made that distinction is because I learned this from Joe Wire in his classes. And I really, really like that because we can sometimes go on autopilot, for example, what does that really mean? Think about like how you got to work this morning or how you got home this evening from work, depending on what shift you work. It's kind of going to be a blur because you're on autopilot, right? I do not want to be on autopilot with my administrative gun handling. That is how people get hurt. People get injured. People die, So by me taking my focus off of the tool, off of the firearm, in this case, breaking my attention, taking a breath, coming back, and once again, visually and physically inspecting that the gun is fully unloaded, that is an added measure that I feel is absolutely part of good practice, to use a nursing term. That's part of my good practice with unloading a firearm, and that's what I teach my students as well. So once that's done, and I'm in an area that is going to facilitate catching an errant round, because even though we're double, triple checking that this gun is unloaded, et cetera, I want to, if I'm indexing the firearm and doing my trigger presses, my dry fire presses on a pane glass window that has the neighbor's house behind it, probably a bad idea. So in this case, I've got the structure that I'm in is an older building, my apartment, which I love. Heavy duty walls, and also this is the back panel of a level 3A bulletproof vest. You can get like older flak vests and stuff like that, or double up on flak vests, or even though they're not rated for bullets per se, but better yet, you could get some older, heavy friggin' Kevlar vest and use that as your backdrop to help contain an errant round. Or plate, if half the people that watch this show have armor plates and shit like that. But for me, I like to use this, and you can put little dots and targets on it. So I'll put that up, and that fell. I'll get it later. But I want to take that up, and I want to put it down or put it away after my dry practice, so I don't get kind of conditioned to draw my pistol and press the trigger when I see it. The mind is a strange place, as you can imagine. Mine is. So I want to again remove that when I'm done my dry practice session. Okay, so that should cover the safety or the responsible gun handling portion of how to do dry practice. And now let's talk about the Mantis again. Again, I had to say that. That's almost like a disclaimer, but hopefully you learned something about that. And also the fact that you break your attention, take a breath, go back to the gun and make sure that it's unloaded. So the Mantis. So let's see. I have some notes here that I'm referring to, so I don't really miss anything. Let's talk about first, how does it work, right? So you take it out of the box, you charge it up or whatnot. And I'm going to now take my pistol, which is unloaded, right? I'm going to insert the magazine, which is unloaded. I take this out of the box, and you can either place the Mantis in, and you can see how it's kind of an oh man, my fingers are too big. Asymmetric unit. So there is a front and a back. That doesn't really, you don't have to have it on one way or another. In fact, it's designed. You can select whether it's the forward orientation or the rearward orientation. And the reason that they do that is so that if space is more limited on certain guns and stuff, and you would have to have it in the back position like this, because maybe that's buttressing up against a mount, scope mount or something. That allows you to do it. And then you would just select in the app that it's backward. That way it knows kind of how it's oriented on the gun. Okay. So it doesn't matter for me. I'm going to orient it forward, right? It clicks in. Good to go there. And then this works off of Bluetooth. So you're going to use your phone, a free app that you get when you download the app for free, and then you can log in and kind of set up with your email address and a password, whatever. Your kind of your user interface thing. So what it will do is track all of your practice sessions. Okay. So I'm going to go to Mantis X. It's got a neat little bullet thing. It'll say connect. Okay. So I'm going to press the button on the bottom of the magazine. It starts blinking like Abe Lincoln. And then I'm going to press connect there. Searching, connected. Woo! And then we're up. It's pretty simple. I may as well say this right now since I'm saying so many nice things about the Mantis. One of the only criticisms or suggestions rather that I would have for Mantis is it appears to me that they had whoever developed the interface, the user interface for this was kind of like an engineer, because where the user guide to setting up and like the how-to guide, starter guide, whatever you want to call it, is under settings. And I was talking to my mechanical engineer friend about this, and he said, "Oh, that makes perfect sense to me." And I was like, "It didn't make perfect sense to me. Like I had to find it in there a little bit. I felt kind of like an idiot." And I'm sure that they're going to respond that there's probably a million like cues about how to get to it. I didn't see them though. However, he said that's what like an engineer would do. So having a UI UX, this is the phrasing, the acronym that he used, somebody who's a user interface, user experience person, kind of go in there and just re-scrabbing that to the very, very top of the app when you open it, I think would be helpful. Like, is that a deal breaker? Hell no. And considering how valuable the feedback that you get is from this device, that's a very small qualm. It just made me getting started. In fact, I'll show you. I should try to find my first. So it saves the according to the date, the time, how many shots you did, all that, which I'll show you here in a second. But like the first target that I had, there were rounds all over the place because I'm like, I've got this thing here, and I'm like going like, how does it start? And the target was like, it looked like a typical guy at the range target, which is to say buckshot hits at 40 yards, which is to say all over the place. And then once I figured it out, you got to do it like this, then I was off to the races. But so that's just a little kind of a funny thing, and also a suggestion to them about how to make it more user friendly. Once you get a hang of it, I did find that there was a little bit of a learning curve, as with any kind of piece of kit. But once you get it, you're like, okay, you open it up, and you're good, and you're off to the races again. So let's talk about some of the features, and then I will show you me kind of using this and what the feedback is. So, God damn it, this is like driving a trailer using this thing. Okay, backwards like this. So you have holster draw analysis. You have start basic combat course, which just kind of takes you through different things about shooting the various different targets. You're also not using a target during this, which is kind of really interesting. And that's one of the things that I was also a little bit confused about, was I was like, what the hell am I pointing at? Am I pointing at like at my bulletproof vest? Am I pointing at the television? What am I pointing at my phone? No, you're pointing out into space. And via the gyroscope inside of the Mantis X, as well as the accelerometer, that's what's giving the feedback to your app, to the Mantis X app, and you're getting all these thousands of pieces of it's generating thousands of pieces of information, per second, to then give you information in the app. Okay, so this is really cool. Shit, let me get back here. Train. So you have the holster draw analysis, which is really cool. Let's click on this. And what happens is you could select, you can actually do this live fire, which is, if you remember back in the beginning, what I was saying, like I thought it was only for dry practice. No, you can take this to the range and get feedback live fire, which was really, really cool. And I will show you some of the feedback that it gives for that. You select live fire or dry fire. So I'm going to select dry. You select the hand, and you select again, going back to that forward or rearward orientation of the Mantis X on your firearm. You would then press start, and you holster the firearm. I will forego that for 1 second. I want to go to history. Let's see. I gotta go to. Sorry about this. You know what? I'll do that in real time. Let's just do it from sitting. Okay, so I'll get my bulletproof vest up in the background, and then I'll show you how this works. Because it's definitely worth you guys seeing. I think that you guys will eat this up.
Stand by.
Stand by. Just talking to me and shit. Right. So I got my vest right there, which is in a good position. So holster draw analysis. I will click start.
Stand by.
Yeah, I'm standing by, babe. I'm gonna do it nice and slow. Go. I draw up. Okay. So now I'm gonna press stop. And it's a 2.82 second draw, which I totally don't care about right now. I can back up and do faster draws. Let's take a look at the feedback, right? And let's click it. All right. So this is from the draw point. This is, you could see where it's going off to the side. That's because I kind of I believe I came to a thumb peck and then drew it out. And let's go to the next one. And then that's where the shot breaks. So I'm going from center line out and back in. So let's do that again. Let's do that a couple times. And then you would just restart it. So let me holster the firearm. Okay. I did.
Stand by.
Oh, it knows. See, it's crazy. Okay, a little bit faster. So that was a 1.16 second draw.
Stand by.
Shh, quiet. So it shows you 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 different pieces of information, which is really remarkable. Okay, so how much time from the beep until I got my grip? You know what? Maybe I could use my fingers are too goddamn fat. So the grip, which was 0.38 seconds, the pull, which was 0.19 seconds, and to the time that I get horizontal, so my heart, where the vertical and the horizontal line of presentation meet, onto target was 0.14, and then the shot was 0.22 seconds for a total of 1.16 seconds. Really interesting, right? Unless you're like Frank Proctor or Tim Herron or one of these other gods of shooting, like I don't know what the hell. I mean, I know that to get to grip is going to be slower than maybe a different portion of it, but to get that kind of feedback, like that's really cool. And now let's kind of swipe, and then this would be a better indication of the draw. So starting, and this is all color coded. Starting, going, boom. So this, you could also see that this is from the vertical line of presentation to where it meets, and this area is where it's getting from the center line of my body to in front of my dominant eye, which is really cool feedback. I mean, how cool is that? And let me see, I think that we could actually play it. So let me scroll one more. Hold on. I think that you can play this, and I'm sorry that fuck me. Trying not to cuss. Hold on. 1.16. Okay. There is a play feature with this -177. All right. With the shooting, with the actual trigger press and stuff like that, live fire and dry fire. I guess that maybe there isn't with the holster draw analysis, but I kind of don't believe that because this is so well thought out. Anyway, whatever. So that's the holster draw analysis. Let's talk now about. I just can't believe that. Give me one more second. Well, you know what? Like it's my show, and I can take as much time as I want. Actually, I just don't see a play button. All right. Well, okay. So let's talk about open training. Okay, this is where you're going to have the ability, and there's like all different things that you can select. Shot timers, so this replaces a shot timer. One of the cool things about this also is it is not affected by. So if you're at the range and like dickhead next to you is shooting trying not to cuss, like a micro Draco, and you're trying to do shot timer stuff. I don't believe that this will be affected by that because it's not based off of sound; it's based off of the movement, which is pretty cool. You've got benchmark things, which are things that you want to try to achieve. You can also do primary home. You can select primary hand only and support hand only as what you're doing in a given drill. So it'll give you feedback that's more tailored for that and more appropriate for that. Speed targets, reload drills, very, very cool. There's got these marksmanship things, but let's do what I think is going to be a huge bonus to you guys, which is where's my open training? There we go. So what I'll do is I just selected open training. This comes up, and then there's no buzzer on this like with the shot timer. So I can take all the time I want. So I'm going to present my gun. This is not being recorded. I will index the gun in my little safe direction. I'm going to give a trigger press. Okay, there we go. It said, great shot. So I scored a 95.1 out of 100. Yay for me. And it shows the trigger press movement and the hold movement. And let's go to this neat little map right here. This they call it. No, this is not the spider map. This is the trace view, which I thought was you could also do with the draw stroke. But so what we've got here, the blue is the holding on target. The yellow color is movement during the press. And the red is recoil or movement after the press. Okay. So let's take a look. And this is my little what the hell is that? Play button. So watch this. You can actually see. This is really annoying to do backwards. There you go. So there's before. Let's do this a couple times. So this is before, during, and after. Before, during, and after. Very, very cool, right? And also it's recording how long all this takes. So very, very neat. And this is something that you could do with any of your firearms. So, for example, if you're carrying a revolver and stuff, and you don't care about putting a little tape and a Picatinny rail thing on the bottom of your grip, which I mean, I wouldn't give a shit, but you'll really be able to see and then diagnose a lot of what the issues are that you're having with your trigger press. Now, as far as that goes, Mantis has part of the software is it will give you recommendations about what's going on during the shot. So no, I don't want holster draw analysis. I want the I'm going to go to train. I'm going to go to open training and let's go to like a pour shot. Okay. So this was a 72. Oh, that's why. Let's click on this. This is a like a not great trigger press, and it says breaking wrist up. Possible causes is breaking wrist up or healing is another way of saying it. Um, I don't know 100% if that's a correct diagnosis, but it kind of makes sense. And so they can help you actually diagnose and become a better shooter through your dry practice and through your live fire, via these things. And also you'll see like little videos they'll have, and then they're short too. So breaking grip, how does this happen, or healing, or squeezing too hard, or flinching, or anticipating the shot. You can click on a video and it'll show you what that looks like, just like a little 10-second video. So I think that's really neat, especially for new shooters. I think that more experienced shooters and practitioners, you kind of know when you whiffed it, as far as anticipated a shot, or just being able to call your shots as they are. But for new shooters, introducing those ideas of healing or breaking wrist up, or pulling the gun down, too much finger, too little finger on the trigger, that's a really, really great way of introducing those concepts so that they're then aware of them and can consider them during their shooting. All right, moving onward, let's talk about live fire. So you can use this live fire, which is super. This drill is live fire only. Okay, so I got to go into my settings. I got to put it on live. Let's say history, recoil meter. So with the recoil meter, what it does is it shows the muzzle in degrees. So how much lift of the muzzle, which I thought was kind of curious, and it makes sense in that it doesn't show you the distance necessarily, but because it's got a gyroscope and this accelerometer thing in this little unit, it shows you in degrees, which kind of makes more sense to do, because that's then going to be more applicable from any given distance, right? What is your muzzle raising 2 inches? Now, what does that really mean? If the target's 4 feet in front of you, it doesn't matter. If the target's 100 yards in front of you, it does. So with degrees, it's a better indication of what's going on with that. It will show you this recoil meter, or the recoil analysis as they call it, the recovery time to your point of aim. So bang, let's say I got a 20-degree shift upward, coming back down, what my recovery time is to get to my original point of aim. So again, valuable information, because that's shot to shot reacquisition. How fast can we ventilate whatever we're shooting? That's definitely something that I want to know. And again, it's just kind of like it's like a magic little tool. It's like a magic little tool. And then recoil angle laterally, as far as diagonal deviation. So this way, when you're firing, is the gun breaking up this way? Is it breaking up this way? How can I then address that? And then recoil in width, side to side. It'll show that and also in degrees. So I find that to be a very useful tool. And also it's especially neat because you can try different shooting techniques and kind of prove in real time which one's better. I would say just better, plain better, but better for you if you want to say. So like if you're absolutely 100% committed to your traditional weaver stance, fine. But you can also then try modified isosceles. You can try whatever. You could try the turtle. You could try face up flat like IPSC, like an IPSC shooter or Frank Proctor. You can try what are some of the other. There's probably a dozen different kinds of I would say a combination of grips and stances with your and ways of uh, having your arms either locked or partially unhinged, or again, like going to a traditional weaver. And you'll see with this recoil analysis, this recoil meter, which one actually get you back on target faster, which one has less um, recovery, to that point of aim, which one has a reduced lateral, deviation during the shot. And I think that can be very illuminating. And both for new shooters and for shooters that have been, around the block a couple times, like I was experimenting with how much I wanted to unhinge my elbows, how hard was I gripping, and was that really making a difference? Like those are all things that are kind of hard to, I don't want to say diagnose, but analyze once you're pretty decent at shooting, because you may not get as much. You may get like a feeling like, oh, I'm better at it. I'm better at this, or I'm faster at this. But until you incorporate a timer or something like the Mantis, you really don't know. You really don't have data, and we have to be data driven, as Will Petty likes to say. Okay, so let's see if there's any other things. There's other chart views in the thing. So you saw the trace view. I just want to show you the other view, which is the spider chart, which is kind of interesting. So let's go to this. It's a little spider chart. So it says great shooting. Hey, thanks, Mantis. And where the gun went during my trigger press. So it looks like it went up and to the left, which is kind of interesting because I didn't see that for that shot. I can tell you that much right now. Like you kind of see, if I present the gun and I take a trigger press, I can see that there's a little bit of movement, and then it looks like there's a little bit of movement up and to the right. But by using the Mantis, you are getting an actual confirmation in that, whether it's you're correct or you're full of shit, and then can kind of address with things like modifying your grip a little bit, modifying how much finger placement you're getting on the trigger, et cetera, et cetera. So let's do a couple of the presentations, just because that's kind of cool and sexy and all that bullshit. All right, here we go. So there we go. I have, yes, that is an ostrich egg in the background. It was given to me by a very dear friend. So holster draw analysis. So I've selected dry, right hand, and forward orientation of the unit. Okay, so I'll just do, I don't know, 3 or 4. I got my safe backdrop right there. I got my chair going in the way. Okay.
Stand by.
Stand by. All right, you got it, babe. Firearm. It says 1.2 seconds.
Stand by.
Pulse the firearm.
Stand by.
Do 2 more for a total of 5.
Stand by.
One, 2.
Stand by.
Okay, cool. So let's stop. Woo! I swear I'm like sweating. So here's my feedback. This is really fun, by the way, guys. Here are, like I said, the different colors. The different colors are grip, pull, like vertical pull, horizontal to vertical pull to the horizontal plane, out to target, and then shot. And it looks like I got 1.27, 1.21, 1.28, 1.30, 1.20, 1.25. And that's from various different hand positions. Let's see if we can get. I swore that you could. I guess you can't do the play button with this. It's making me look stupid, but whatever. What's this? Anyway. So you saw that I did a variety of hand positions. This is something that the Gary got me doing, or got us doing, which is if you always start from this position, well, with hands down, you're kind of really training for this much. That's like I don't want to do that. You never know what position your hands are going to be. You may have, and you could make up the hand positions that you start with. It may be the hold up position, and maybe the interview position, the Jack Benny. It may be the hands up. I think I just said hands up position, and maybe hands by your side, maybe hands in your pocket, and maybe hands behind your head, whatever, hand on your face. I don't care, but vary it, because you'll find that if you haven't done that in the past, when you start working from different hand positions, shit starts going out the window. You're like, I thought I was good at this, and that's fine because you haven't practiced them. However, it's again of the utmost importance that I am varying where my starting position is, because in the event that I have to draw my firearm, what if my hands aren't by my sides, right? What if my hands aren't in this like fence? Work all the different hand positions. And I'm pretty happy with that score from concealment. That's fine. Well, a 1.25 from concealment with a hit on target is good to me. And let's just see also where we got the holster draw analysis. I guess you can't. Oh, filters. Show all types, open training, drill, open. Holster draw analysis. Show all drills. Okay. Yeah, so it does show you kind of how that presentation was. I just want to get to the damn. There we go. Holster draw analysis. Okay. So this, thank you for bearing with me while I kind of fumble through some of the things. But this is the starting point. Fat finger out of the way. Straight up. In front of the dominant eye with the press. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's a pretty linear passage of the gun through space, and I'm pretty happy with that. I guess I'll kind of wrap up with saying that yes, I did take it to the range. I only took it to the range once. I would like to take it more. One of the many reasons that this is I think an invaluable training tool, and one that is very, very timely, is because of the expensive ammo. Ammo is really expensive right now. There's a war going on in Ukraine. Things in America are whack, and spending a bunch of money on ammo to train or practice rather can sometimes be difficult, right? As well as time crunch with getting to the range. So if I can train in my own apartment responsibly, i.e., and safely, then that's huge. Gary asked me, actually, when I told him that I was going to be doing an interview or a review on the Mantis X. What do you think of it? And he thinks that he too thinks that it's like the future of how to practice. I did see some improvement, and it also got me doing my dry practice again. What's really cool is when you look and see how many presses of the trigger you've had in a given time span. Like you're like, oh wow, I did 500 dry presses over the course of, I don't know, we'll say a month. I'm just making that up, but a given period of time, you would not have possibly if you hadn't had maybe the Mantis X had a program that kind of keeps you honest, and it's also really fun. It's a fun program, um, and how else are you going to keep track of how many presses you have? So to wrap it up, I very much like the product. I think that it is really reasonable. I think that they go for like shit. Probably shouldn't. Let me just see this right here. Mantis X Cost. So it looks like the X3 is, well, the one that I have, the X10 is $250. Retails for $250. I think that it is entirely worth it. That's like less than a case of ammo. So let's say Optics Planet has the Mantis. Oh, that's the X3 for $169. You get some added benefits with the X10, but you don't necessarily have to go to it. I would suggest though that if you're going to pony up and get one, get the X10. It's got so many features. You can do it live fire, dry fire, and it's pretty remarkable the growth that you can have in a relatively short period of time when you're actually getting usable, viewable feedback that from the naked eye you would never have. And here, hold on one second. I want to show you one thing. It'll be worth it. This is my Siberian forest cat. Look at how cute he is. Look at how big his paws are. Look, you're on the internet. His name is Ajax. You're such a good boy. All right, well, I'm wrapping it up. I said it'd be under an hour, and I was not lying. We want to thank our amazing Patreon supporters who help us do our shows and help turn gun owners into responsibly armed citizens. We can't thank you guys enough. If you like our shows and our content, please check us out on our website or visit patreon.com/practically tactical. We also want to thank our amazing sponsors, Filster Holsters, Defensive Mechanisms, Big Tech's Outdoors, or excuse me, that's the old one, Big Tech's Ordnance, Defensive Elements, and Cloud Defensive. Please visit practicallytactical.com for more information on sponsors, for links and discount codes. Well, as always, guys and gals, thank you for tuning in and listening to us, as we greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you next week for another episode of Practically Tactical.